There we go. Ooh. Hey, good morning, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic with me, Mike Avery, here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio on a really cold Wednesday morning. Man, did the temperature drop, huh? Supposed to be a little warmer for the weekend, but it was a cold night out in the blind. What was I out there? Monday night? Wind chill of like 12 degrees. Thank God I had my heater at my feet. But about an hour into the hunt, my heater ran out of fuel. Ed, good morning. How are you? Thanks for joining me on this edition of Behind the Mic. How are you this morning? Tommy, always a pleasure, buddy. How you doing? How you doing, Tommy? How you doing? If we lived in Jersey, I could say, how you doing? Well, we live in Michigan. At least I do. And I just said, how you doing? Anyway, my friends, glad to have you along with us on, I almost said Wednesday Night Live. I'll be back here tonight for Wednesday night. Craig, good morning, buddy. Machine down, got to get to work. All right, Craig, and we'll see you next week in West Branch, right? You and Michelle, if I remember right. Good luck getting that thing back up and running. I know you don't need luck because you are a skilled man. Bruce, good morning. How are you? Appreciate you being along. Let me look at my calendar here. Does tomorrow start? No. Friday starts December. So by the time people hear the radio show, it will indeed be December. And if you stick around as I record the first segment of the show, you'll hear me talking as if it is December. But that's a little broadcasting time management magic. Ricky, all is well here. Hope the same in your world. Got a doe the other night. Excellent. The snow finally. I was out Monday night, Tommy, thinking the same thing, that the snow and cold would drive the animals into our food plots. The only deer I saw, and it was right at dark, and I actually thought it was a doe being chased by a buck. But as it ran across me right at dark, and I just got a glimpse of it in my scope, there might have been a little bit of rack on top, so maybe it was a small buck. Either way, I didn't get a shot, and I'm still trying to get a doe after all this time. But where I hunt, if I read the rules correctly, I can continue to hunt with my 350 Legend right on through the muzzleloader season and then into the late doe season. So in effect, if I'm reading things correctly, I have a rifle season from November 15th to January 1st. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Randy, good morning. How are you? Carl, good morning to you. Oh, there we go. Okay, a video I was looking for. Let me respond to this email quickly. I'll do it later. Is that the video? Did it come through? Yes, it did. Excellent. Technology is a wonderful thing. Ryan, good morning. How are you? The way we can communicate these days, the way we can share information, the way we can share pictures and video, it's a far cry from how things were when I first got started, where if you wanted to get something to me, you had to drop it in the mail and send it, or we had to meet somewhere in person and you would hand me something, a picture or a videotape. Isn't it crazy? It makes it easy to share things these days. I think it's wonderful. Social media, when it's great, is great. Anti-social media, when it's sketchy, is very sketchy. Brad, good morning. How are you? Doug says, good morning, Cap. Been a while. Hope all is well. Hey, Doug, it is all is well in my world. And I'm optimistic that things will be getting better in a world that we share. And that's all I'm saying for now, but things are looking good. Dave says does. Someone told me that does are better eating than bucks. Is that true? I would say so. Don't get me wrong. If a big buck walks in front of me, and at this point in the season, it ain't going to happen. I know that where I'm hunting, but yeah, I still want to put a big doe in the freezer, and I haven't yet, and it's crazy. Still chasing doe or buck like you. Good luck to you, Kevin. Hey, Corey, good morning. Are you back in Michigan now, or are you still out west? I might have to come to your house and shoot one of your backyard does, Corey. Angie, how are you? Gus was sharing your anniversary date with me. Very, very cool. Congrats. Excellent. So glad to hear that. I shared a minor anniversary date in my world. Monday was the 5th anniversary of my bariatric surgery. Lost over 115 pounds, still holding at about 100 pounds. So that is small, Angie, compared to what you went through, though. I mean, yours was a life-saving situation, and I'm so happy for you guys. So happy. Mad Jack, listen, buddy, doesn't matter if you're late or not. It's like I tell people when I watch the doors at church, they walk and they say, "Oh, I'm so sorry I'm late." I'm like, God doesn't care. You're just here, and that's all that matters. Paul, good morning. How are you, buddy? Michigan until the end of January. Thank you, Angie. Appreciate that. Your brother was actually one of the role models for me. I reached out to him when I was considering having it, and I relied heavily on his advice. I don't know. Doug, we'll talk. We'll talk when we can talk for sure. Jerry, good morning. How are you? Thanks for joining me, everybody, on this edition of Behind the Mic. There is snow on your standing beans in Missouri. Makes you want to head out there, doesn't it? Good morning, Mickey. How are you? Very cool name, Mickey. Justin from MUCC, buddy. How you doing this morning? MUCC, a group that I strongly support. And they're really putting a membership drive. They're pushing a membership drive in 2024. I want to help them out every way that I can because I think it's a great organization. And in today's world, we need strong pro hunting and fishing and trapping and shooting advocates in Lansing. And I think MUCC is that group. Jerry's still looking, so am I. Hey, Josh, good morning, buddy. How are you? Josh, one of the good guys. Brian, also one of the good guys. Brian, are you still hunting? Is your crew still hunting? And how are things on the property? It's really slowed down on ours. Steve, good morning, buddy. Congrats on that huge, was it Alberta or Manitoba? That huge Canada buck you shot, 270 pounds. That thing looked like a cross between a horse and a cow and a deer. Really, I mean, that buck you shot had a beautiful rack, but with a body size twice of what we're used to seeing, it didn't do that rack justice. Anyway, congrats. John, need to catch up on your shows. Ben Hunting got a button buck with a 7mm Hers federal ammo from Jay's. Good story, lots of meat. Hey, it's a legal target and it's in your freezer now. Coming up Saturday for the day to hunt. I did not get my suppressor application filled out yet because there's no great rush on it now. I will be, let's see, I'm not hunting Saturday. My wife and my daughter are actually running a race in Holly Saturday. I said, yeah, no problem. I said, but you got to make sure I'm home by 8:00 Saturday night because there's a certain football game that I want to see. And congrats, go blue. You know, I thought, and I'm getting off topic here, I thought that there was nobody I disliked more than Urban Meyer until Ryan Day opens his mouth and I realized that I really don't like that guy. Hey, Hans, how you doing, buddy? Long time. Haven't talked. Been a long time. Glad the surgery went well. You're looking good. Hope you and your family had a great season. Live in Florida now, enjoying. Always great to see you as well. How are things in Florida, by the way? Is there a lot of pressure on your property? Pressure don't mean just hunting. Not pressure on our property, Corey, but around us. And listen, I know that the if I stay at it long enough, sooner or later, a big doe is going to walk into one of those food plots the later in the season we get. And hopefully I'm sitting there with my Brenton 350 Legend and we'll get things done. Gene, good morning. How are you? Jim checking in from Hersey. Go blue. Is the DNR going to change the muzzleloading season back to muzzle only? No, Jerry, they're not. Might as well just call it a second gun season. I agree with you. Like I just said, where I'm hunting and where Brian's hunting, we can continue to use like a straight walled cartridge, in my case, a 350 Legend. I can hunt with that right on through the muzzleloader season, and I can hunt with it into the late doe season if I'm reading the regulations correctly, which means, as you say, in effect, there is a rifle season on our property from November 15th to January 1st. Almost in the freezer. Still working on it. I don't like Day, Meyer, or Paul. Jason checking in from the Ford Dearborn truck plant. How are you? Fishing with the Griffins. Good morning, folks. Jerry, good morning. Gene is hard at work at the Apex plant. Corey says he can use his 270. Jerry checking in from the Adirondacks. Always a pleasure. 12 inches of snow on the ground. Can't wait to get to the range this afternoon and sight in his new muzzleloader. That sounds like fun. So what's on my list here? I talked about the okay. We still have just a few seats available for our Wednesday night live at the Lumberjack Restaurant in West Branch next Wednesday night. Call 989-343-0892 for reservations. As I say, we are just about filled up. I've got some friends joining me as in addition to our friends who are listeners. Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand Meats will be there. Rich Krazan of Killer Food Plots will be there. Matt Taggett of Rec Broadheads will be there. I think possibly Ted Harpham of Darton Archery will be there. Darton just is in the process today of unveiling their new lineup. And Ryan says, calling now is a good time. So we're going to have a good crew there. I'm quite sure it's going to be sellout. I am not buying your dinner. Okay. You got to buy your own dinner. Well, I'm not buying your dinner unless your name is Nick Grillo. I'm buying Nick's dinner. There is no fee to attend, but we need reservations. Call 989-343-0892 to get yours. Brad says he can't make it. Mama's got to work. John got me a doe trying to get more. All you guys who shot your does, I'm so jealous. I'm still out there. I believe that if I'm patient and sit out there long enough, that I will be rewarded with a doe. Isn't that something? All you guys shooting these big bucks, I'm just trying to shoot a doe. I'm just trying to put some venison in the freezer. I'm being tested this year. My goal going into this year was to shoot a turkey, shoot a bear, and shoot a Michigan doe. So far, I shot my turkey, shot my bear, I haven't shot my doe yet. One of the easiest things in the world, well, other than a 1.5-year-old buck, one of the easiest things in the world to shoot is a doe. But I haven't shot one yet. Vic, I waited to shoot a doe, bring those bucks in. Yes, true, especially during the rut. I mean, I wanted to shoot a doe, but I wasn't going to shoot a doe during the rut because you never know what's following her during the rut, right? Oh, no, not crying, Ryan. Josh, I've taken 2 does and a buck, never got a turkey in his life. But you don't like turkey hunting. But you've shot more coyotes than most people ever will. And that video of you with your daughter was priceless. There's this relationship between dads and their daughters, right? The video of you in the blind when your daughter shot that buck was beautiful. I can relate. My daughter's a little bit older, but we just got the pictures back from my daughter's wedding. She got married over Labor Day weekend. And some of these pictures, in fact, I posted one on my stories. It's a picture of Shelby, my daughter, and I during the father-daughter dance at the reception that brought tears to my eyes. It's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now, I realize, Josh, you've got a few years before that, but enjoy those years. Happy with 119-pound doe and a 6-point. Freezer's full. Ed, that's a great season. 119-pound doe is a big doe. My son James shot a big doe opening season, 120 pounds on a scale. Big doe. He actually won a local contest for the biggest doe. The prize was a crossbow. He walked in there to pick up his crossbow, and they told him the second place winner was a 12-year-old kid. So James said, I want that 12-year-old kid to take that crossbow. James, that's a stand-up thing to do, buddy. Captain Mark Pananzak, how are you this morning? Good morning to you. I haven't seen your pictures, Mark, but I've seen Captain Jason Graham's pictures. Saginaw Bay is on fire right now, if you can get out. AA Ron Brown, if the DNR wants to reduce the deer population and manage the doe to buck ratio, wouldn't it be best to have the youth hunt does only and limit each hunter to 1 buck? I am with you completely, Ron. I think the idea of having a does only youth hunt is a great idea. I also support the 1 buck tag. Now, I have posed the $1 tag to DNR biologists, and they've told me that statistically, the number of people who shoot a second buck is so small that statistically it doesn't matter. But I'm saying it's not the statistics. When you have a second buck tag in your pocket, some people are going to be less picky with that first tag. I would support a $1 tag. And actually, Josh, probably still will post it. It's just a beautiful video. Indeed, it does. I was texting my daughter this morning and I said, Shelby, I was just looking at those pictures, and every time I see those pictures, it makes me want to cry. So I get it, Josh. I get it. Decided I wasn't going to shoot a doe up north. Spent 2 straight weeks in Roscommon County, so a total of 7 deer. Scott Keatsman of Linwood Taxidermy got my buck and a doe. Sat 6 evenings this year. Now you're just rubbing it in, Scott. Scott, your name came up the other night. We had our first meeting for the Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction, which will be Saturday, March 2nd. Way too early for tickets, but they were talking about vendors. Let me know, Scott, if you want to be a vendor this year again as well. And let me know if you want to donate a shoulder mount again. That's very generous. I appreciate it. Justin, he passed so many deer early in the season with a freezer full of bear meat. He now regret all his decisions. The hunting has been terrible. Well, Justin, at MUCC, you have the ability to control the hunting, right? You guys can just write a declaration that deer hunting will be better in Michigan, and it'll happen. I'm being sarcastic and facetious, of course. You don't have that kind of control. And the DNR doesn't have direct control like that either. Michael, good morning. Paul, did I get your email? I saw an email from you, Paul, that said, what do you think of this? And it was a Facebook link, and I didn't click it. So if you tell me it's okay, I will, but I didn't click it because I'm suspicious of clicking emails that contain Facebook post links. Brian, good morning. Paul says, well, now that I'm not hunting, I'm getting daytime pics on his cameras again. Yeah. Awesome. Absolutely. Okay. A couple of other things. If you are on Instagram, and I know many of you aren't, but if you are on Instagram, my Instagram feed is static. I am stuck at like 8,300 likes, where my Facebook page has 83,000 followers. I'm really trying to boost my Instagram presence. So if you are on Instagram, if you would go over to Mike Avery Outdoors and like the page or follow it or whatever it is, I would appreciate it. Also, more housekeeping. If on your local radio station you have heard a repeat of shows in the last few weeks, or a repeat of at least 1 hour of the show, it's not me. It's not us. In 30 years of doing this show, I don't think I've ever repeated one. Maybe 1 years ago because of an emergency. But honestly, I do not repeat shows. I take this too seriously. I value your time too much to waste your time by repeating a show. If you hear the same show twice in a row, there's been a mistake somewhere, and it's not on our end. Now, mistakes are made. People make mistakes. We're all human. I'm not calling anybody out. It's probably not at the local affiliate level either. It's more than that. It's at a higher level than that. We have been having some problems with our satellite distribution system, to the point where I'm pushing for a new distribution system, because I'm trying to think of a word that is strong enough but still tasteful. Let's just say it makes me sick when I hear from people who say that they heard the same show 2 weeks in a row. We don't do things that way here. We record a new show every week. So if you're hearing a repeat show, there's been a mistake. If you want to hear the new shows and your local affiliate is carrying a repeat, listen to the podcast. Yes, Justin, apparently you are unaware of your capabilities. It's about introducing wolves back into the Lower Peninsula. Oh, Steve Rivet used the shoulder mount for his. You're going to have your hands full with that one, Scott, a 270-pound beast. Thank you, Fishing with the Griffins. Appreciate that. All right, my friends, in about 45 seconds, I'm going to change my focus from this microphone, my social media microphone, to this microphone, my official broadcast microphone. And I'm going to put on my official broadcast headphones. And I will not be able to directly interact with you. And I will likely repeat some of the same things that you and I have just been talking about. It's for, good morning, Matt. It's for my broadcast audience. So have some patience, but feel free to stick around and watch me record the first segment of this week's show. I will be back tonight at 7:00 for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. And of course, next Wednesday Night Live at the Lumberjack Restaurant in West Branch, 989-343-0892 for reservations 654. How can you get the podcast? Everywhere, John. One, blast off. John, the podcast is available on my website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com, my Facebook page. It's on YouTube. It's on Twitter. It's on LinkedIn. It's on Spotify. It's on TuneIn. It's on Audible. It's on, oh my gosh, Amazon Music, Apple Music, Google Play, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Player FM, Deezer, Odyssey, and YouTube. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. All right, my friends, have a great day. Rumble, never heard of Rumble. It's not on Rumble. I could probably put it on Rumble. I just wasn't aware Rumble was out there. All right, my friends, have a good day. And we'll see you tonight, Wednesday Night Live. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show here on the Outdoor Magazine Radio Network. More than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan, and so glad to have you along with us as we kick off the month of December. Did the year just fly by for you? Because it certainly did for me. I mean, it was just the 4th of July, and now we're into the Christmas season coming up. It's also the late season in the outdoors. It's the late hunting season. It is the late open water fishing season. And if this weather continues, it could be the early ice fishing season as well. Although the forecast, as we look at it here midweek, ahead of time, a couple of days, it's calling for a little bit warmer weather this weekend. And I'm actually kind of glad to see that. This last week, I was out hunting, sitting in my blind. Now, I knew it was going to be cold, right? The wind chill was like 12 degrees. We had not been seeing any activity on our cameras. The only activity we had been seeing was nighttime activity. A lot of does into the food plots at night, a few small bucks. But I thought, with it being really cold and snowy, maybe that will push some of those does into those food plots just before dark. So I got all bundled up. I headed out to my blind, and I had a heater. I knew I had a heater waiting for me in the blind, so I knew I was going to be comfortable. So I had my Brenton 350 Legend. I'm all hunkered down in the blind. I got good visibility. It's snowing. It's a beautiful night. And about an hour into the hunt, my heater ran out of juice. I thought I had about half of a cylinder. I thought, well, that should get me through the night. Well, it didn't. And it got kind of cold. But still, I thought, okay, it's going to be perfect, right? Just before dark, I see a deer running through the woods to the southwest of me. My first thought is, this is a doe being pushed by a buck. So I get the Brenton swiveled around that direction. I'm trying to see what's going on. A lot of movement, a lot of something is obviously, I thought, being pushed. Runs off to the northwest. I thought, okay, well, that's all I'm going to see of this deer. About 10 seconds later, the deer comes back. I'm pretty sure it's a doe, so I'm looking for the buck behind her. Why is a doe going to be running around like this if she's not being pushed by a buck? The deer runs across the food plot in front of me. This is right at dark now. So I'm trying to get it in my scope. It's close enough. I'm having a hard time getting it in my scope. It's moving fast enough that I don't get a good look at it. And I thought just for a fraction of a second, I saw a little bit of a rack on top of it. So then I thought, well, maybe it's a young buck. But why is it, you know, had it been a young buck, I wouldn't have shot it. Had it been a doe, I would have shot it, but I didn't get a shot. So I'm still trying to put a doe in the freezer. You wouldn't think it would be this hard. I think I am being tested this season. I went into this year with 3 goals. I wanted to shoot a Michigan turkey, I wanted to shoot a bear, and I wanted to shoot a big Michigan doe. I got my turkey, I got my bear, and I still haven't shot my doe yet. But I'm not giving up. And if I'm reading the regulations correctly, I've still got a lot of time. If I'm reading the regulations correctly, the county that I'm in will allow me to continue to hunt with my Brenton 350 Legend right on through the muzzleloader season. And if I'm reading the regulations correctly, when the muzzleloader season ends, the late doe season begins, and I can continue to use my Brenton 350 Legend. So, in effect, it is a firearm deer season from November 15th right on through January 1st. If I can't take a doe during that time, I should just give it up and do something else. It won't be ice fishing, but I should do something else. So isn't that interesting? I mean, the DNR really wants us to shoot more deer, especially more does. And again, I'll go back to my conversation from last week, my thoughts from last week. If they truly want us to shoot more deer, does, then bring baiting back to the Lower Peninsula. I know the CWD, the concern of CWD, but honestly, and I'm no biologist and I'm no expert, but I am an observer. I'm a participant. And the DNR powers that be have actually told me that, yeah, maybe the threat of chronic wasting disease isn't as big as they thought it was. It's still a concern, and I'm not saying it's not. But I don't know. So what else is going on? Wednesday night coming up. Wednesday night live at the Lumberjack Restaurant in West Branch. Somebody just posted as I'm doing this. Mike, you're not into ice fishing? No, I'm not. I am not into ice fishing at all. Wednesday night live at the Lumberjack Restaurant. Oh, boy, I don't know if we have any seats left, but if you want to go, it's worth a try. 989-343-0892. 989-343-0892. It doesn't cost you anything to be there, but we do need reservations, so we make sure we have room for you. 989-343-0892. Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand will be with us. Rich Krazan of Killer Food Plots will be with us. Matt Taggett of Rec Broadheads will be with us. I think maybe even Ted Harpham of Darton Archery will be with us to talk about their new lineup of Darton bows. If he doesn't join us for that, he will be with us on next week's radio show. Pretty exciting what that Michigan-based company is doing. 989-343-0892, 989-343-0892. If you are on Instagram, this is a blatant self-serving plea. If you're on Instagram, I would ask you to go over to Mike Avery Outdoors on Instagram, Mike Avery Outdoors, and like my feed or follow it or whatever the term is on Instagram. I'm really having a hard time growing my Instagram audience. I'm kind of stuck at like 8,300, where my Facebook page has 83,000. Instagram has 8,300, and the content is very similar. So I'm doing something wrong over there. I realize that. But if you could kind of help this old guy get that Instagram presence a big boost, I would appreciate it. So if you're on Instagram, you go over to Mike Avery Outdoors and help me out there. I would certainly appreciate it. Speaking of self-serving things, if you have heard a repeat Outdoor Magazine radio show on your local radio station, I apologize. It hurts me and it makes me mad when I hear about such things. Mistakes do get made. We are humans and we make mistakes. I would never call anybody out for making a mistake because I make probably 100 mistakes every day, or maybe 100 mistakes every hour, every day. But I do want you to know that I take this very seriously. I take your time very seriously. I would never waste your time by repeating a radio show. I've been doing radio, I think, something like 30 years now. And honestly, I don't remember ever repeating a show. There may have been one repeat when a family emergency came up at the last minute, but I can't even verify that. I will be in this studio every week. I will record a new Outdoor Magazine radio show every week as long as God allows me to do it. So if you are hearing a repeat, there has been a problem somewhere along the way. And it's likely right now not with your local affiliate. It's at a level a little bit higher than that. So I've been talking to the folks that I'm working with that are our satellite distributors, and we're looking to make a change because this is unacceptable. If your local station has a repeat on, and this is about the only time I would actually tell you to leave your local station and go to the podcast version. The podcast version is always a new version because I take care of that myself. So if you're hearing a repeat, I apologize. One more completely personal and very personal comment here before we get to the break. This last week, I celebrated an anniversary myself. It's been 5 years since I had bariatric surgery, the sleeve, to lose weight. And I lost 115 pounds. And I'm still down like 100 pounds. So it was a surgery that changed my life. And people tell me all the time, Avery, I'm glad you talk about it because it's given them the incentive to go out and do something that changed their life as well. So been kind of a big week and kind of a cool week. And I'm so glad I did that. Coming up on this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show after the break, Gina Cadell of Jay's Sporting Goods, then Tom Campbell of Woods and Water News. In our second hour, Ali Shakur, Lieutenant Joe Molnar of the DNR, and Tim Roller plus Dixie Dave in hour number 3 of this week's Outdoor Magazine. My name is Mike Avery, the website MikeAveryOutdoors.com, the email address Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. I am so glad that you're along with us and hope you can spend some time with us right here on Outdoor Magazine. All right, we got some comments here. Before Houghton Lake 98.5, great station. Good morning, Mike. Ruben, how are things in Colorado? Not into ice fishing at all. Have a great day, Dave. Going to Instagram now. Thank you, Kevin. Aditya. How you doing, buddy? That's a good excuse, Jerry. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate that. All right, my friends, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to record the rest of this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. Hopefully, I'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. In the meantime, have a great day. Try to stay warm.